The lights go out. Not just in your house, everywhere. The hum of civilization, that constant electrical pulse you've lived with your entire life, suddenly flatlines. No warning, no gradual decline, just silence. Your phone is dead weight in your pocket. The water stops flowing from your tap within hours. The grocery store, 3 blocks away, becomes a war zone by sunset. This isn't a movie scenario or a prepper fantasy. This is the statistical reality of what happens when any one of 10 catastrophic events tears through the fabric of modern society. And here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. You're not ready, not even close. Let me be crystal clear about something. The scenarios that end civilization aren't the ones you see trending on social media. They're not the dramatic Hollywood-style explosions or alien invasions. They're the cascade failures, the dominoes nobody sees falling until it's far too late. A solar flare that cooks the transformers in our electrical grid. A volcanic eruption that blocks out the sun for months. A cyberattack that simultaneously crashes banking, logistics, and emergency response systems. These aren't fantasy. They're documented science-backed possibilities that experts have been screaming about while everyone scrolls past to watch cat videos. The difference between someone who survives the first 30 days and someone who does UNT is UNT understanding the actual physics of collapse. Start with water, because you'll be dead from dehydration before you even get hungry. Forget your bug-out bag full of freeze-dried meals. In an urban collapse scenario, your biggest enemy isn't raiders or disease in the first 72 hours, it's thirst. The human body needs roughly 3 liters of water per day just to maintain basic organ function. When the taps run dry, you have exactly 1 toilet tank flush worth of drinkable water in your home, assuming you haven't already wasted it in panic. Here's what the survival blogs won't tell you. Rainwater collection is useless if there's no rain. And boiling water requires fuel you don't have. Instead, you need to know the hidden water sources in every urban environment. Office buildings have water heater tanks 80 gallons of potable water just sitting there. Swimming pools, even chemical-laden ones, can be filtered through improvised charcoal and sand filters you build from gravel, ash, and old fabric. The chemistry is simple. Activated carbon binds to organic compounds and heavy metals, while sand catches particulates. Layer them correctly in a container with holes punched in the bottom, and you've got a filter that can process dozens of gallons. But here's the timing issue. You need to secure these sources before the crowds figure it out. That means moving in the first 6 hours, not the first 6 days. Food becomes the next existential crisis, but not in the way you think. The average city has a 3-day food supply in its distribution network. That's it. 3 days between normalcy and absolute chaos at every grocery store. When I say chaos, I'm talking about people killing each other over baby formula. The psychology of starvation kicks in faster than the actual starvation does. Here's your unconventional advantage. Urban environments are accidentally designed with hidden calories everywhere. Storm drains and sewer systems host populations of rats rodents that have sustained humans through every major siege in history. I know it sounds horrific, but a single rat provides roughly 150 calories of protein-dense meat. You trap them using basic spring snares made from wire and bait them with literally any organic matter. Cook thoroughly to kill parasites. This is non-negotiable biology. Parks and decorative gardens contain edible plants that city dwellers walk past every single day without recognition. Dandelions, clover, plantains are calorie sources hiding in plain sight. The leaves, roots, flowers all edible, all providing nutrients. Learn to identify them now, because field guides won't help when your hands are shaking from hunger. But here's the hardest truth about food and collapse. You'll need to abandon your moral comfort zones. The social contract that makes us civilized evaporates when children are crying from hunger. Heat and shelter sound basic until you realize modern humans are catastrophically dependent on artificial climate control. Your home becomes a liability the moment heating systems fail, because most residential buildings are designed to trap heat in winter, which means they become ovens in summer and freezers when the temperature drops. Hypothermia kills in hours, not days. Your core body temperature only needs to drop by 3 degrees Celsius for organ systems to start shutting down. The physics are unforgiving. You need to create a microenvironment, a small, insulated space within a space. Forget heating an entire room. Use plastic sheeting, blankets, even cardboard to create a tent within a room that measures roughly 2 meters by 2 meters. Your own body heat will maintain that space at survivable temperatures if you minimize air exchange. Multiple layers of clothing trap air between fabric. That's your insulation, not the fabric itself. For heat generation without electricity, you're looking at improvised alcohol burners made from soda cans and rubbing alcohol, or Dakota fire pits if you have outdoor access underground chambers that maximize heat while minimizing smoke signature. But the real survival hack, insulation matters more than heat generation. The human body produces roughly 100 watts of heat. If you can trap it, you don't need external fire sources. Then there's medical reality, and this is where most people's survival fantasies completely shatter. A simple infected cut becomes a death sentence without antibiotics. Diabetes, heart conditions, asthma, chronic conditions that are completely manageable today become fatal within weeks when the pharmaceutical supply chain collapses. Here's the uncomfortable science. You can't stockpile your way out of medical collapse. Medications expire. Insulin needs refrigeration. The human body degrades without its chemical supports. What you can do is understand field medicine basics that have kept humans alive for millennia. Honey has natural antibacterial properties. Medical-grade honey can actually treat infected wounds. Willow bark contains salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin, but you need to know dosages, preparation methods, and contraindications. This isn't folk medicine, it's applied chemistry. Clean water for wound irrigation matters more than any antibiotic ointment. Pressure and elevation stop bleeding faster than any first aid kit. Learn to differentiate between arterial bleeding, which spurts in rhythm with heartbeat and will kill in minutes, versus venous bleeding, which flows steadily and gives you time to react. Learn basic suturing techniques on chicken breasts from the grocery store while you still can, because when society collapses, the emergency rooms collapse with it. Now let's talk about the psychological collapse, because this is what actually destroys people. Not lack of food or water, but the complete mental breakdown that happens when your entire reality framework disintegrates overnight. You've spent your whole life in a world with rules, systems, and safety nets. Suddenly, there are none. The cognitive dissonance creates a paralysis that kills more people than any physical threat in the first week. Your brain literally cannot process the magnitude of what's happening. People stand in line at non-functioning ATMs because the ritual of normalcy feels safer than accepting reality. They wait for authorities who aren't coming. They debate and discuss when they should be moving and acting. Here's your psychological edge. Accept the horror immediately. Don't waste mental energy on denial or bargaining. The grid isn't coming back on tomorrow. Help isn't coming. You are alone in a fundamentally transformed world, and every minute you spend wishing for the old world is a minute you're not adapting to the new one. Make peace with doing things that horrify you, now theft, deception, violence if necessary. The moral framework of civilization is a luxury that requires civilization to exist. In collapse, there's only one moral imperative: continued existence. Everything else is negotiable. You're not ready because you think preparation is about stockpiling. It's not. It's about knowledge, adaptability, and the willingness to become someone you currently can't imagine being. The world ends not with dramatic explosions, but with quiet, systemic failures that cascade faster than anyone expects. And when it does, the difference between victim and survivor is measured in the decisions you make in the first 72 hours, not the supplies you have. So what are you actually going to do? Not tomorrow, not when things get bad, right now. Because the catastrophic hook isn't just a storytelling device. It's a statistical inevitability approaching faster than you think. And your window to prepare shrinks every single day you pretend it isn't.